As a teacher, one of your most crucial and challenging decisions is this: what textbook should I adopt for my AP history course? This is a question we toil over because the stakes are so high. We all know that if our students read and really digest their textbooks, they will do well in this course. But if they don't, they're going to struggle profoundly, and that struggle usually gets worked out on us. So in order to answer this question, I made pilgrimage to the virtual El Dorado of AP history teachers, Barbara Coulter.
I'm crazy AP lady. I teach all the AP history courses.
She's been teaching these subjects for 28 years, and she's been guiding all of us since 2015 on the AP History Facebook group. So I started by asking her what general principles there are for a teacher looking to adopt a textbook for these three courses.
It can't just be any textbook. Remember that College Board is not going to say, thou shalt use X. I looked this afternoon. For the APUSH community, I have 27 different possibilities. So my starting point would not necessarily be the Facebook community. I would recommend that people join the AP professional community. That is a direct pipeline right to College Board. It is moderated by consultants. It's moderated by the person in charge of all things AP history. One thing that you have to remember, College Board does require that it is a college level textbook. But the caveat there is just because it's a college textbook for Ohio University or Ohio State University or any of the billions of colleges out there, it may not follow our course description. So you really, really want to make sure that you dig in and find something that follows that course description, because otherwise it's frustrating for you, it's frustrating for the kids, and it just doesn't get used. It sits on the shelf.
So the best way to know if a textbook will conform to the standards of the course and exam description is to find a correlation guide for that textbook. And usually you can find it on the publisher's website, but if not, you can ask your sales rep. And this tool is invaluable because it shows you topic by topic where all the standards are covered in any given textbook.
If they can't provide that for you, run as quickly as you possibly can away from that sales rep or away from that book. Because if they don't have that one simple document, they're not going to give you very good customer support. You know,
Yeah.
A lot of times a textbook rep will say, oh, this one does. It's getting ready to be put on the list. Please give me the correlation guide so that you can show me that it's actually in consideration.
And even if you find that the textbook you want to use isn't on the College Board's official list, you can still use it. But you do have to demonstrate to the College Board that the text will meet the standards. And maybe that means that you have to supplement with other resources, and that's fine, you do you, boo. But especially if you're in your first few years of teaching, it's probably just best to stick to the College Board's official list. It just makes things easier. If you want to know where to find that list,
for any course, you're going to go to the AP page for that class, and you're going to select course audit. And once you see the course audit, you scroll down just a little bit and it'll say recommended for.
Okay, now let's move to Barbara's 7 tips for choosing a textbook. And if you want this in checklist form, it's linked in the description below. You have some general guidelines for teachers.
I have 7 general tips.
Okay.
Kind of a checkbox.
Good.
Age and reading level of your students, I consider that one of the checkboxes. If you have 9th graders, their reading level is totally different than if you have 12th graders. My second one is, how are students enrolled in your course? So I know in Florida, AP World, every student takes the AP World test. It's the difference between choice to be in the class or force to be in the class. And if I'm forcing everybody to be in the class, I'm going to have a really huge range of reading skills and reading ability. So those first 2 tips are about my students specifically. My next one is also about them, but it's more for students who are a little bit older that might be taking more than one AP course. How many AP courses are these students, these young adults, saying that they can do in a year? Checkbox number 4, what is the alignment of this textbook to the course? I don't want to be skipping back and forth from this chapter to this chapter. Kids hate that. I hate that. I want to make sure that it follows that CED pretty closely. The next one's all about me. Does the textbook have any ancillaries that I can tap into to make my job a little bit easier? Does it have primary source readings as part of the pages in the chapter? Does it have stimulus-based multiple choice with the actual answers? And is there a teacher version? Like Henrietta has a teacher version that has teaching tips right in the margins of that teacher book. The next one is printed versus digital. Which do your students prefer? I actually poll my students each spring when they enroll And I say, okay, we have the opportunity to save $5 per copy. Which would you prefer? And every single year it's please give us paper. We can't do one more minute on the computer. And then finally, my final tip is to get your reading specialist involved. You know the content, they know your students. And you want to make sure that whatever you're selecting isn't going to need to be replaced in 2 years.
And now we get to the sauce. I asked Barbara what textbooks she uses for all these courses. Like, out of all the accumulated wisdom of 28 years of classroom teaching, and as someone who holds the respect of so many of us teachers struggling in the classroom, what textbooks has that led her to choose?
I have used Strayer's Ways of the World. I have used Stern's. I have used Brinkley's Traditions and Encounters. I have used Brinkley's American History. I love those books. I love an actual history textbook. My students hate it. And so I use AMSCO. And I know that's controversial, but my students will read it. They have time to read it. And I supplement with all kinds of primary sources, documentaries, short video snippets.
I switched to AMSCO, I think, 3 years ago, and I have used those in all 3 of my AP history classes. And the thing is, I agree, not my favorite. It is not the most engaging narrative that has ever been written.
Oh, and there's no pictures that are in color. I mean, it's definitely a budget level textbook, but if they'll read it, that's really what's important.
That's right. My deepest thanks to Barbara for chatting with me and helping us answer this perennial question. There are more videos right over here that are going to help you navigate the waters of AP history world. So get that clicky finger out and go to town. Heimler out.